Welcome back to my channel. In this week we are solving SQL questions which are based on employees table. So employees tables are one of the favorite tables that is asked by interviewer in the SQL round of data engineering, data analyst or the BI developer. And we have already solved two questions. If you have not watched my previous video, I will highly recommend you to watch those two videos and you will able to learn from it. And actually I am trying to show you that we can actually solve all these problems if we get stick to our basic and if we understand basic concept, and we are just tweaking little bit our query little bit, that's it. Otherwise most of the solutions are actually similar for different problems, right? So till now what we have learned? We have learned that if there is an employees table given, so and it is there is one employee ID and the manager ID, then we can apply join on table itself. And the condition that we have learned is that e dot manager ID is equal to e dot employee ID. Perfect. This we have learned. Okay. So I will be solving this two problem using two approach. Our first approach will be using join and second approach will be using not in. So we will try to see both the approach. So let us start by using my first approach. So let's first look into the question first. So our question is employee whose manager left the company. Okay, here we are having one table employees, employee ID, name, manager ID and salary. Perfectly fine. So and we have learned that we can use join on table itself. E dot manager ID is equal to E dot employee ID. Perfect. Here we are having four columns. Employee ID is the primary key of this table, and this table contains information about the employee, their salary and the ID of their manager. And there is one very important line written here that some employee don't have a manager, means it's a very common table, right? Some of the employees may not be working under any manager. This is possible, right? Cool. Okay, and what we have to write? We have to write an SQL query to report the IDs of employees whose salary is less than $30,000. Okay, fine. So first thing that we need to do is to filter our result. What will be the filter condition? Filter condition will be salary, or find all employees whose salary is less than 30,000. Perfect. And their manager should not be null, because we need to find all those employees whose manager left the company. Okay, so here also it is written, when an employee leaves the company, their information is deleted from the employee table, but the report will still have their manager ID set to manager that left. Cool. So let's look into one example. So this here we are having employee table and here we are having some record. What is our first filter? The first filter is we need to find all those employees whose salary is less than 30,000. Perfect. So here we are having only two records whose salary is less than 30,000. Perfect. And their manager ID is also not null. Perfect. So this is the two result. And this particular employee ID 1 has manager ID 11. Perfect. Is 11 present in this table? Yes, 11 record of 11 is present. But for this particular record, that's employee ID 11, the manager ID is 6. But 6 is not there in this table. There is no rows whose employee ID is equal to 6. Perfect. It means that employee ID 11 whose manager is 6 has left, the manager 6 has left the company, right? So as we have explained the question, you might have guessed the solution or approach of it. So what will be first approach? First thing will be we need to filter our result. So let's write create one filter table, one temporary filter table, and using the 𝗏 statement. Perfect. Filtered and employees as select employee, sorry for mistake, employee ID, name, manager ID, salary. Perfect. From employees. we need to filter it where salary is less than 30,000, and we need to find all those employees whose manager has left. But there might be some employees whose does not have a manager itself. We need to filter that result also, right? So and manager ID is not null. Perfect. This will give us the filtered employee tables, right? This will give us two records. This will give us this one. Let me just reformat it little bit so it will make more sense to you. Perfect. And this one. I'm just refracting it. Okay, so this will give me this result. Now what we need to find? We need to find manager record of manager of this particular record, right? So we should also we will be opting for finding the manager records. And how we can find the manager records? By applying the join. So let me just write the query first. Select star from, we need to we will be having this as one of the table as E, and here I am applying left join. I will make you understand why I am applying left join. Left join employee as M on E dot manager ID is equal to E dot employee ID, right? E dot manager ID is equal to M dot employee ID. Perfect. So what will be the output of this? Here let's just focus on this result. Here E dot manager ID. What is the manager ID of employee ID 11? It's 6, right? It is 6 present in any of the employee here? No. So we will be having null, because we have applied left join, right? And I hope you are clear how left join works. For this employee ID 1, we are having manager ID 11, and 11 is actually present in this table, that this is this, right? So we will be getting this result. Let me just reformat it little bit. And what we need to find? We need to find all employees whose manager has left. So we have to write our where clause, where M dot manager ID, this, right? So employee ID, not manager ID. Employee ID is null, right? Do we need any order by? Yes, we need order by. Return the result order by employee ID. So we need to write order by E dot employee ID, and we only need employee ID in the final result. Okay, so we will be doing like this. Let me just comment it. Perfect. Let me just run it. Just 1 minute. Test.employees. I think I made some mistake in the while naming it. Sorry. I think it's right now. Okay, it is ambiguous. Let me just run it. Okay, I hope you are able to understand it. Let me just submit it. Perfect. So what we have done, we have firstly filtered our result, and then we have applied the right join, and we know our condition, that is e dot manager id, because we want to have a create one row which will have employee record, and it will also have their manager records, right? We can work, but here we can see that it's not that much of optimized solutions. So let us just work on the optimized solution. So instead of, but why I wanted to show this approach, let's in interview, it's not always required to write the optimized things. So if you know your approach, you try to follow that first, and then you try to optimize the thing. Okay, so till now we have how we have worked, we have always worked like that. If there is employee id and the manager id in the same table, we will try to join it, and we have I have tried to I've tried to solve this problem using the same approach. But how we can optimize it? Do we need this join? Actually, we don't need this join. Why? Let me just write it. That will make more sense to you. Here, if we write one more and condition, and let's just remove this, and manager id not in. If manager id is has left the company, then manager id will not be there in this employee id table, right? Employee id column. So select employee id from, let me just copy it. I'm making mistakes while writing this. Okay, I think this will also work, right? Perfect. Let's just submit it. Oh, we need to write order by employee id. Let me just submit it. Perfect. So we have optimized our query. So, but we should understand our approach and try to stick with our approach, and then we go for our optimizations. Perfect. Okay, I hope you are able to learn from it, and let's try to meet in the next video, and let's try to solve some more interesting problem based on employees table. And if you learned something from it, then please like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and bye for that. Bye bye.